Hey guys, TommyBryson here, and if you ever wonder how weird I am, I spend a lot of time on Google looking up ways to save money. And today that search led me to somewhere that I did not think I was actually gonna go, but it led me to China. I know, weird. Like, I'm not Chinese, I'm Dominican, mostly African I think, but the idea is that Chinese people, they save a lot of money and they're very good at saving money. And whenever I hear about someone being good at saving money, what I want to do is steal all their secrets and then share it with everyone in the world. So here I am to share everything I've learned about Chinese people and why they are so good at saving money. But not just that, guys, okay? Because it's not by a small margin. Because here in the US, guess what? We save around 3% to 6%. And most of us can't even, for example, take care of $1,000 expense. That's how crazy things are. But in China, in the 1990s, they were saving around, I don't know, 15 to 16%. Today, around 30 to 50%. How crazy is that? And that led me to ask even more questions because basically, I'm that type of person. Like, once I find something out, I gotta keep digging and digging and digging until I get to where I want to get to, okay? That's what I'm gonna get to, okay? But the idea is, guys, okay, I asked two questions. Why and how are they basically doing this? First of all, now the why is actually kind of weird, and I'll tell you why here. You know how in China you can only have 1 or 2 kids, and most people want a boy for whatever reason it actually is. That's created on inequality ratio, which basically means for every 122 boys, you only have 100 girls. Now, because girls scientifically have, for example, selection power, guess what? A lot of guys have to compete with each other in order to actually get married and get a bride and all that stuff. Now, unlike here in the US, the way they compete is by basically saving a lot of money, looking to be a lot more frugal, and also potentially buying a home. So this is a massive motivation factor to why people in China save a lot of money. That aspect of competition. But not just that, I asked myself how and who's out there saving this much money. 30% and 50% is a lot. So then I found this lady. Now, this lady's in China. She is 32 years old and works in advertising, and her name is Wang. Now, this lady is just special, honestly, because she doesn't save 30% or 50%. She actually saves around 90% of her salary. So if you are broke, paycheck to paycheck, you can't have money for an emergency account, and you just can't save money overall, and you want to know how to save money, you got to watch this video because I'm going to teach you exactly what this lady basically talks about in order to save that much money. Now, will everyone be able to save 90% of their money? By the way, she has a kid, she has a husband, so don't say, well, she lives on her own. Not true, okay? Is everyone going to be able to do it? The answer is no, but there are some takeaways in order to help you save a lot more money. So if you like that, like this video on top out. Also, subscribe and hit the bell so you get notified. And let's get started here. First problem is, guys, you can't change your situation or your results without changing the activities you're actually doing. Now, the big problem in the US, and I'm not a politician here, is that everyone in the US drank the Kool-aid. You know, after the Great Depression, 1960s or so, we had an excellent average savings rate of around like 12.1%. But after that, it's gone downhill. We're at 3 to 6%. And we went, for example, from being a nation of savers to a nation of spenders, mostly because of advertising and debt and everything else and being able to get whatever you want to get. But the answer is we have a keeping up with the Joneses lifestyle. My friend just bought a BMW, so I gotta get a Mercedes. My girlfriend just bought a purse, so I need to get a Prada, whatever it is, okay? People like keeping up with each other in a spending way, and before you know it, it's just broke people trying to act like they're rich, pretending to be like they're the rich, but the rich are actually broke. Very complex situation, but that's what's going on here. So, I tell you this to say this, okay, guys? When you hear in this, what I'm telling you in this video, don't just say, I'm not gonna do that. That's stupid. That won't make a difference. The answer is what you have been doing has gotten you where you are. So the only way to get somewhere different is by basically trying something new. Einstein used to say, my mindset got me here, but this mindset will not be able to help me solve these new problems that I'm actually having. So you got to change in some way. So here are the things I learned from Wang. And again, these things are very extreme, but there are ways to do this the right way. Most people in the US, they spend a few $1,000s every single year on clothing. Wang spends $15 on panties, and that is it. Because all of her clothes comes from her friends and basically just getting donated clothing and just basically buying used clothing overall. Now, if you are in the US, usually this sounds to be very ridiculous because you can buy a t-shirt for $7, $5, $10, but a lot of us have a closet filled with clothes that is just like clothes we don't even wear. I walked into this lady's house once, of course with permission, my mom's friend, and mom told me, this lady literally has clothes in her closet, Tommy, that she's never worn, like with the sticker on it and everything. Just for the sake of buying it, that's why she buys it. That's a consumer mindset, and you don't want to have that. Now, at one point, I did this. I'm not embarrassed to say it because the important things in life are saving money, financial freedom, frugality, and being able to have freedom overall. So I don't mind sharing this. When I first started out my financial journey, I used to go to Goodwill and I used to go to thrift stores to actually shop for my clothes. Not to be cool with a Rockstar tee, but because I needed to buy clothes and I did not want to spend that money on those things. So I bought t-shirts for $1, $2, $3. I bought my shoes there, bought my pants there. I bought everything I needed from thrift stores and also Goodwill. Basically, saved me a bunch of money, and sometimes I would get some cool stuff and sell it on eBay and also make some good money. So yeah, don't buy new clothes. It's kind of crazy, but it works. Before you wear it, you wash it. It's gonna be just fine, trust me. Second thing is, take public transportation. Now, this depends, and I'm gonna switch this up a little bit, okay? Because Wang lives in a big city in China, so public transportation and bikes get her exactly what she wants to get. Kind of like when I used to live in New York, but relative to Puerto Rico, it's a lot more different. Like, I need a car here. So my advice would be, if you live in New York, you don't really need a car, right? If you live in a big metropolitan city where you can get anywhere on a bus, it's inconvenient, I know, but if it's cheaper, it's a good way to actually save a bunch of money. But if you live like in Florida, Puerto Rico, California, places where you kind of need a car, Texas, right? Well, the answer is you don't buy a new car. You don't even buy a decent used car. You buy a beater car, a car between $1,000 to $5,000, but you're gonna pay cash for it. That way, you don't have a car payment. In the US, we have car payments being from $300 to $500 to $700. That's all money you could have invested or saved and potentially not have you in the hole. So that's one big thing. Public transportation, or for example, buying a beater car that works, it's reliable. My favorite brands are honestly Mazda, Toyota, and Honda. Very, very reliable. You can find them for cheap, and they're very cheap to actually repair because you don't want to buy a fancy cool car because it's going to be expensive to fix, especially hybrids. I have a hybrid. It is expensive to fix if things go wrong with that car. So understand what you're getting into. Usually Toyota Corollas, Honda Civics, and Mazdas, they're going to be just fine. Trust your boy on this one. Now, the third thing she does is she does not join feasts. I was like, what is she talking about? Is this like what type of feast is this, okay? Basically, going out with friends and eating out and going to parties and all this stuff because it can be expensive. Now, when you have a goal in mind, you got to kind of commit to that goal and you got to say, this is what I want to do. It's like when I wanted to lose weight, I was like, I know I'm going to have to make a sacrifice in order to lose weight. I can't eat this, but I can eat this stuff, right? So the idea is you can't be eating out. You cook at home. If you have friends and you want to spend time with them, find other ways to spend time with them that don't involve spending all your money. When I was in college, it was, right? Yeah, in college, I had this habit. Every weekend or after work, it was like, hey, what are we ordering for food? What's takeout gonna be like? Where are we going this weekend? The answer is, it's cool, but it's very wasteful. And you spend a bunch of money that you could be investing or saving. So eating at home, making your food at home, meal prepping. By the way, best investment I've made this year has been an air fryer and a crock pot. Sounds like a crack pot, which sounds very weird, but a crock pot, okay? Crock pot. Those things, that you can basically just throw the food in there, come back a few hours later, and it's fully done. Air fry some chicken wings, and you're good to go. It's a great way to save money and get that outdoor dining experience, but from home in a way. It saves me a bunch of money, and you can get an air fryer for like 50 bucks and a crock pot for like around like $27. That's how much I paid for mine. So very cheap investments to save you a bunch of money. Now, the last thing she does is she stays away from luxury goods. Now, I remember I read this book by Benjamin Franklin. Yeah, the old guy, the president on $100 bill. Well, this book spoke about luxury goods. And he said that when you buy a luxury good, it does not end there because it leads you to buying other luxury goods. It's kind of like, for example, if you buy a Mercedes and you invite people home, you can't have a trash home, right? Because now you need to buy something else. You also need to have the fancy clothing. You also need to have the fancy watch. It's kind of like, to be even more specific, when you buy an iPhone, it does not stop there. Because now you need the AirPods, you need the Apple iWatch, and then you also need like an iPad or an iMac or whatever it is. Like, it just leads you to buying other things. So, and there's this powerful quote by Warren Buffett, which basically says, if you spend your money to buy things you don't need, eventually you'll sell the things you do need to basically be able to keep up with that expense. And you don't want to end up there. So, staying away from luxury goods can save you a lot of money, especially when you can't afford it. I'm not saying never buy something nice for yourself, but just don't buy it when you can't afford it. It makes no sense, okay? So don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. Now, those are the overall tips that Wang basically has. And I noticed that in Chinese culture, it's a lot more simplistic. It's just, hey, be frugal and don't spend unwisely and keep a budget. And a budget is something you set, right? And your budget should just be basically, you have shelter, utilities, groceries, and transportation, and that's it. If you want a few wants in there, maybe 3 or 5, that's fine. But the rest of the money, you should just be saving it and also trying to invest. Now, obviously, if you're in debt, pay your debts first, save for emergency second, then you start investing, then you start saving up for a home. And by the way, Wang, remember that lady I told you about? She has 2 properties in China, which is very hard to actually do. She saves 90% of her income. So that woman is amazing. Hero, incredible, if you ask me. Now, here are some fun little challenges, 3 exactly, if you want to actually start saving up some money right now and maybe switch some of your habits, okay? One thing I've learned is that if you don't see it, you won't miss it. You can't miss something you never had. It's kind of like, for example, whenever you get a paycheck, the first time you're super mad because, hey, Social Security, Medicaid, taxes, everything's sticking out. You're like, oh my gosh, but guess what? You don't really miss it because you never really have the money. Same thing with saving, okay? You have to learn how to automate your savings. So if you're gonna be saving money, automate it. So automatically when you get paid, that money's taken out and put in a separate account that you don't have a debit card for or can't go to the ATM for. That way, you don't miss the money, okay? So the challenge is this, okay, guys? This is called the $100 per paycheck challenge. I just made this up, I think, but it could be out there, who knows. But the idea is you take $100 every time you get paid and you set it aside. Now, obviously, if you make $200 a paycheck, this is a stupid idea. So the answer is this is relative to your income. So I would say take 10 to 20% of the money you make every time you get paid and set that money aside. So if you make $1,000, take $100 or $200 and you set that aside. And by the end of the year, you might not think this is a lot of money, but if you get paid, for example, weekly, and you say, I'm gonna save $100 a week, right? Every week, that's times 52 weeks, that's $5,200. If you save $200, well, now you have $10,400. So it does add up. And most people don't even have $1,000. So these little challenges, they actually do help out a lot. Second challenge is called the envelope challenge, okay? It's 100 envelopes, and the goal is you grab 100 envelopes, you label them 1 through 100, and you put $1 or whatever the numbers on the envelope, you put that much money in there every single day, or it's every single day, okay? So you put $1 in it, $1, one envelope, you put $10 in the 10-day one, you put 20 in the 20-day one, and then by the end of the entire challenge, you will be surprised how much money you actually have in there. The last challenge is called the 30-day no spend challenge. Tommy, Are you stupid? Like, I need to spend money. Like, it's impossible. Like, shelter, utilities, groceries, transportation, I need to spend on those things. The answer is yes, you do. So only spend on those things, and you're not allowed to spend money on anything else. It's like going cold turkey. It's like a hard reset on the way you think. So by going 30 days, it takes 21 days to establish a habit. It changes the way you think and the way you act and what you actually do when you go outside. So if you only spend money on the essentials and nothing else, well, the next month you say, well, what do I want to spend money on? And now you become more aware of what you're actually spending money on, if it's a need or if it's a want. Now guys, I don't want to make this video more complicated than it is. But one last thing I do have to say is that although people save a lot of money in China, don't forget, they have to worry about no social security, health insurance, no pension. Like, these reasons are very big, and also competition, right? Like, for marriage or whatever. Like, all these points make people be very responsible. But one big thing is, if you live in the US, don't rely on the government. Okay, that's my one advice. Okay, so it's important you pay off your debts first. Save for emergencies, 3 to 6 months worth for expenses. You have that money there. If you lose your job, you're good to go. Car breaks down, you're good to go. You start investing 10-20% of your income, and you buy a house using the 30% rule. And once you have a paid off home, you have your investment set, you have an emergency account, you have no debt, you're almost financially free at that point. You just got to keep investing and doing the same thing over and over again. But that provides you with a lot more freedom, a lot less anxiety. And one thing that I learned from Wang is that although she works in advertising, she hates it. Because in advertising, she says, Tommy, they force people or try to make people become anxious and change their mindsets and have them spend more money, although they shouldn't be spending more money because it's not the good thing to do. So that's the idea. You got to reprogram your brain, build automation systems, and that's basically it, guys, okay? I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, hit the bell so you're notified, and share this video with a friend because it should help other people, and that's the goal with this video. On top of that, as always, like, subscribe. I said that already. More content up here. DM me on Instagram, TommyBryson, or call me one-on-one for free. The link is down below. More content here. Faces up here. Long-term team officially out.